with that out of the way, let's talk about our third topic. And our third topic is about, well, it's about my favorite company, really, Amazon. and particularly my favorite CEO in the world, Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor, aka Jeff Bezos, right now Amazon's definitely being looked at. Every year it seems like they're being looked at with a bigger and bigger microscope on all the things that they're doing. And they've had a lot to be criticized with how they've dealt with the C virus pandemic, their employees firing protesters and their monopolistic natures. And they want Jeff Bezos they basically want him to testify. And they want a lot of the tech companies to testify as how they use user data and what they do with it. And are they using that information wisely? And Bezos has actually resisted testifying. And when I say resisted, he's not even answering their phone calls. However, it appears that that's about to change because Jeff Bezos finally seems to be willing to testify about Amazon's use of seller data. And as you can see in the subheading here, last month it seemed Amazon didn't want its CEO appearing before Congress, and probably for a good reason. This guy, look, there's a reason I call him Lex Luthor. Just look at that. That looks like a guy who wants to take over the world. He kind of looks like the guy who, if Superman went up to him, he would just say, "I've got all the money in the world. I'm not afraid of you." So I can understand why Amazon wouldn't want him to testify, but apparently he's going to testify. Here's what the article says. So Jeff Bezos is willing to testify before Congress about Amazon's competitive practices. According to a letter obtained by the New York Times and several other publications, a lawyer for Amazon told the House Judiciary Committee Bezos will be available to take part in the panel's antitrust investigation into big tech. The hearing, which is slated to start in July, is likely to involve the CEOs of Apple, Alphabet, Facebook, and Amazon. And Amazon's quote, well, the letter said, Amazon is committed to cooperating with your inquiry and will make the appropriate executive available to testify. This includes making Jeff Bezos available to testify at a hearing with the other CEOs this summer. The House Judiciary Committee is likely to question Amazon about its use of third-party seller data. Now, for those of you who are not aware of what's going on, the controversy comes from the fact that Amazon appears to have been caught using third-party data. Like, you sell something on Amazon and it's successful. Amazon is being accused of taking that information and creating their own spin-off brand of what you're selling, and then, of course, pushing their own product. And I even encourage people to do this. Like, go to Amazon and type in batteries or pencils, and you're not going to find Duracell at the top. You're not going to find Sharpie at the top. Sharpie's a marker, actually. So if you type in markers or batteries, you're going to find Amazon Basics. For that matter, when you sell third-party on Amazon, they ask who your suppliers are, and they want you to provide that information. And people have been very suspicious of them because what happens is they will have a unique item they're selling on Amazon. And then one day they find the sales stop. And when the sales stop and they go to find out what's going on, Amazon is selling that very item from the same vendor at a cheaper price. And so that has raised questions about what is Amazon doing with this data. It definitely appears that they are using it to, undercut them. And by the way, this is not the first time Amazon did this. One of the biggest mistakes Toys R Us ever made was they originally, actually it wasn't even Toys R Us. At first it was Target. It was Target and Toys R Us. With Amazon was the number one e-commerce, well, they still are. They were going out to companies and saying, hey, we'll sell your merchandise on our site. And they said, hey, that's a great idea. I mean, we don't have to build our websites or anything. And then what was Amazon doing? They were studying the buying habits of Target and Toys R Us shoppers. So when it was time for Target and Toys R Us to branch out on their own and make their own websites, Amazon had that data. They knew what their customers were willing to pay and what they would do to pay for it and what deals they wanted. And they had all that. And they severely undercut them. And, of course, Toys R Us definitely went under, not just because of that, but for a lot of reasons. So, Mark, I don't know how much you follow Amazon. I'm definitely thinking I'm a little bit more passionate about this than you are. But you hear things like this, and what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think it's brilliant. I think he knows what he's doing because you can sit by and let other people testify and other people make decisions, or you can go in there and you can control and manage the narrative. Anybody who's ever watched Godfather 2 knows that when Michael Corleone got in front of Congress, he was able to manage and control the narrative. Now, I know I'm going to fiction here, but that's an easy way to illustrate what happens. And people like Bezos, they're going to be able to do a good job at doing that. The man is not an idiot. Now, the second thing I want to say, when their products pop up, that is something that has been happening in, for example, grocery stores for ages. People have been paying a premium to get their products on end caps, to get them at eye-level shelves. The thing that's different is when I go to my local market, they're not duplicating and buying their Cheerios and then putting the local Cheerios guy out of business and replacing his eye-level Cheerios with their eye-level Cheerios. But the whole idea of putting their product line up above, as you say, some other name brands, I don't see anything illegal or immoral or unethical. It might seem a little seedy, but business has been done that way for a long, long time. Now, as far as their use of information, that has scared the daylights out of me forever. It's the reason that I don't have a Facebook account. It's the reason that I don't do a lot of social media. I keep my social media basically to one Twitter account and then my YouTube. And even that is a tremendous amount. So their manipulation and their use of personal information troubles me more than the way they use it in order to conduct their business.
Right. All right. It's interesting that I never really thought about the grocery store analogy, because you're right. A lot of grocery stores do have their own brand of, like cereal. Like there's, do you want Cheerios or do you want Tastios? Although I would argue that one of the differences, like a very key difference, is that when you go to the grocery store and you go to the Cheerios section, you see all the different variations of Cheerios, and you can kind of pick and choose, like, okay, is it worth saving $1 to get the lower brand as opposed to paying an extra $1 for the known brand? Whereas with the Amazon website, they literally bury the competition. Let me see if I can kind of show you what I'm getting at here. And so we need to stop sharing this screen, and we have to share this screen. So let's go to let's just say batteries, just overall. So let's see, the reason. Okay, so you see, like, here's the Energizers, but you can see they're sponsored. Otherwise, these would not have been here. And for some people, if some people have like the list set up, I don't know what happened there, sorry, where like the items go down, then these Amazon batteries bury all these in the second or third page, which some people never even get to the second or third page. So unless you pay them money, they can certainly bury your product. And
so what do you think the upshot, I guess, is? Do you think that Bezos should testify or shouldn't? Because that's really what we're looking at here, right?
Well,
that's when all this will come to light.
Well, he if if it were me, like if I were Bezos, bottom line is, yeah, it's probably wise for him to testify so he can control the narrative. And the unfortunate thing is, I don't necessarily think Congress is well equipped to ask the right questions. And I think, by the way, that's one of the
Some
reasons.
of them are.
I think that's one of the reasons, like, he's willing to do it, because he saw like the whole Mark Zuckerberg grilling, if you will, and it wasn't much of a grilling.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty clear that most of the senators didn't know how Facebook operated, and the ones who did were so extreme in their thinking one way or the other that it like I don't know why they were even asking the questions, to be honest. I don't want to single anyone out, but so I think it's wise for him to testify, but I wish we had more competent people asking questions, because how many people in Congress, for example, have that Amazon seller account, and they were selling a unique item that came from, and then they find out like a couple months later that item stopped selling because Amazon went to their vendor and basically bought a bunch of that product for a much cheaper price, and now are undercutting them. Like, how many senators actually know that happens in all this?
I have nothing to say. You probably hit the nail on the head with that one.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, folks, we are going to end that topic. What do you think? Do you think it's wise for Jeff Bezos to, do this? Testify? Do you think maybe he shouldn't? Do you think Congress is going to ask the questions? And what do you think? Do you think that Amazon is stealing data? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly.